Right, we're going to start this the same way that we always do. So if you've listened to the Inkspill podcast, you will know we do a very cheesy intro where I go, "Hi, I'm Hannah."
Hi, I'm Abby.
And this is Spilling Ink.
The Inkspill podcast.
We are here today live from the Inkspill Poetry Festival 2024. So just to prove we are live, let's have a round of applause. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
It is really nice to see you all. Thank you so much for sticking with us, because it's quite an intense day, isn't it? A poetry festival.
Yes.
And we definitely have packed a lot in today.
We do.
So it's going to be a day full of fun. But just for the next hour, we just wanted to kind of make this a little bit of an opportunity to chat to people who are part of Inkspill, because we do the podcast. And we talk about Inkspill a lot, but we don't actually really get to hear from you guys very often. So we are going to try and invite you to get involved. That's what this lovely little silver mic is for in the middle of the room.
The magical third mic that was promised earlier in the day.
Yeah.
We've really gone up in the world technologically.
Yeah.
Thanks, Alex. Because it definitely isn't me and Hannah. Yes. Yes. He edits. He brings microphones. He has a mixing desk. It's hot.
Oh.
So,
shall we begin?
I think we should.
So we do the Poetry Festival every year because it marks the anniversary of Inkspill. So this is the second anniversary, isn't it? So
it is.
We've been doing this now for 2 years.
2 and a bit, because we had to push it from July because we were very stressed.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, 2 and a bit years of Inkspill. And I think it's just been so lovely to see so many faces, old and new, kind of coming and going, especially on days like today, because, for example, we've got Colin, who has been with us since, I think, the very first one.
Yeah.
Day one attendee. But then we've got other people such as Susie, who've only just kind of discovered us, and we've got Jamie and Anne-Marie, who are through there, brand new kind of attendees.
Who found us through the podcast.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
They listened to the podcast and that's how they came?
Anne-Marie messaged us, do you not remember?
That's how fame feels like that. Oh my God.
Hannah feels perceived. Congratulations.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Hello. We've got our first poetry slam through the door. So yeah, just thank you so much for being here. We wanted this little snippet of the day to be an appreciation of Old Spill, Ink and New, old and new. It's live.
It's going great. So I guess we should touch on why we did Inkspill, and then we can talk to people about why they come to Inkspill.
Yeah.
Could be quite nice. So a little history lesson, because that's obviously a priority for a podcast. Inkspill came from a discussion about the Grove, another pub needing a open mic night. It has a very thriving Irish night, which I know some of my friends who are here really enjoy. And we decided to take the energy of Irish night and completely ignore it and make it a quiet room in a really busy pub on a Friday night.
With very questionable taxidermy all on the walls.
It's a very intense space to be in.
When our very first Inkspill night, I remember this like it was yesterday, we only had a few people. I think we filled they have these beautiful kind of red Chesterfields, don't they? And we filled this one sofa, and to me that was a huge win. We managed to get, I think it was like 5 people to come. And
it was 9.
Like, 9 people. Well, was that including me, you and Sophie?
No, it wasn't.
Oh, okay.
It was 9.
That's nice. And it turns out, I think 3 of them were vegans, weren't they? And I was a vegan myself. But they came and they were traumatised by the taxidermy on the walls, weren't they? And they were just like, we can't be in this room. And I just always remember that and being like, I'm a vegan. I didn't even think of that. I didn't even notice that. So, yeah, it was a bit of self-reflection for me.
It was all second-hand taxidermy, if that makes anyone feel better.
But they've got like strange amalgamations. So there was like a raccoon with duck feet holding a gun,
Fish.
an AK-47 thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, that's all right. Yeah, cool.
It was really good visually to write from.
It was.
It gave us a lot of you could look. We literally one day we did a scavenger hunt where you had to walk around the pub and find
the
props.
weirdest piece of art.
Yes.
Yeah. So it was good. It was a really good place to start.
Yeah, and we were there for.
It was about a year, was it?
No.
Oh dear.
It was like 6 months.
Gosh, time has gone so fast.
Time has gone very fast. And then we moved here in January of last year.
Yeah.
We were in that room.
Colin, first question of the night.
Oh, you really elevate a room.
I remember as well. You were really scared. I seem to remember that first performance, and then you just completely blew us away. And I was like, well, that was fantastic.
And there's evidence. I don't think Colin is scared anymore. Are you scared?
Colin is not afraid.
Someone recently said to me that their friend was an English teacher and they'd recommended our podcast to their students, and they were like, is there anything we need to like let them know about? And I was like, no, we're pretty clean. And then we have Colin going, am I fuck, into our festival special.
An angry
So clearly
Scottish man at the
this is the one that needs over 18 listeners.
Yeah, explicit content.
Explicit content.
Yeah. But yeah, so then we moved here in January 2021. What year is it? 2024. We moved here January 2023, and it's been really good ever since, hasn't it?
Yeah, I was just in the maths too.
So that's a little history of Inkspill. And we know why we created Inkspill, because I was quite selfish with it. I started as a musician, so I think some of you in here know, but I'm a folk musician. And we used to go to open mics, and I always used to feel so bad. There's quite a few that run in Huddersfield, and they'd say that they were poetry friendly as well, but they'd always be silent for the musicians and then talk over the poets, and it used to always break my heart, because I'd be like, really, you know, when you try to be that attentive audience member who's smiling and doing this the whole time while everyone else is just talking over them. It feels a bit like that. But yeah, so, and I just hated that. And I also really wanted to find somewhere that had that balance of it being an open mic, but then also having that creative workshop element. Because I don't know about you guys, but I just never get time in my life to just sit down and write poetry, which is why days like this is so special and such a dream. So that was why I wanted to do Inkspill. What about you? What was you, Abby? What did you want to do?
Why did I want to do Inkspill? I just wanted to write some stuff again. I'd graduated uni and I'd come back, and all of my friends were very talented musicians. We had a great time jamming together. But there was a lot of... I play the French horn, which is not a jammable instrument in any shape or form.
Can you imagine jamming with a French horn, though? I actually think that's a bit of a vibe.
It is a vibe, but it's also just not very conducive to taking to an open mic. You just sort of sat in the corner, just having a fun time. And yeah, so we found each other. We were brought together by our friend Sophie, and we got Inkspill going. And it just, like I say, 9 from the first time, and carried on from there. So that's why we just felt Huddersfield needed the space, and clearly people keep coming and agreeing with us, which is great.
So the first question that we kind of wanted to put to you guys, if you had an answer for it, feel free to come up to the mic as well, because
please do, because we need to be able to hear you for the podcast.
For the podcast recording reasons. Why do you come to Inkspill? That's the first question, and we can edit this afterwards, so if you want to have a little think and then come up, that's fine. But why do you come to Inkspill? What do you look for in an Inkspill night that you maybe don't get in daily life? Have a think, and if anyone feels up for it and wants to be the first one to come to the mic and tell us, that would be great.
No pressure.
I would say, first time I came, it was always like, I wanted to do a spoken word, and I wanted to project from other than Instagram, which is not a very projective place.
No.
It was daring me to get out of my comfort zone. Just posting online, it's safe, isn't it? It's safe, it's a safe space.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, no, there's idiots around, but that's humankind for you, isn't it? Just to get out of my comfort zone and just put myself somewhere where I wasn't comfortable and push myself to go forward was the whole reason I came. Yeah. And I'm so glad I did.
We are too.
Because I totally love you guys. You're brilliant. You've done so much for me, honestly. Like, just coming here on it's a Friday, isn't it?
Normally, yes.
I've got to say Saturday then. See, I've not been for ages.
My head went completely blank, and I was like, I don't know what day it is.
It's a Friday, but just to come here and just say something I've written in the week or something I've written a long time ago, and just come here and perform it and have people listen to it, and it's just nice. Yeah. I just like pushing myself to be out my comfort zone. I'm sure I've said that 4 times already, but
no, it's great.
But I think that's what we hope that people feel they can do here, because I've been to quite a few open mics before, and I find them terrifying. I do, because if you don't feel comfortable in a space, you are not going to get up and be on that microphone, are you? So it's good to hear that you do feel comfortable, that you do feel like you can come and share, even though it does terrify you, because I think that's something that a lot of people will be able to relate to.
It used to. You've done it anymore.
Well, I can kind of tell that now.
You've
It's
me the confidence to go to other places as well.
We need to work harder. We need to scare Colin. We can't have him feeling comfortable.
You can't scare me. It's impossible. I'm from Airdrie. I cannot be scared.
Yeah.
Unless it's a giant slug, I'll shit myself.
We just need to bring a lot of giant slugs to Inksville next time.
But no, that's my input.
Oh,
thank you very much, Colin. Really appreciate it.
Thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Colin. It's nice.
Yeah, I think with what Colin was saying there, that kind of relates to that idea of imposter syndrome, doesn't it, a little bit? Kind of feeling, can I get up, can I do this? But we talk about that a lot in the podcast.
We had that when we put this on the timetable. We were like, we have a spare slot, what should we do? And then we put it on, and then Hannah instantly, after it went live on the Ticket Hub, was like, are you sure? And I was like, it's too late now.
What are we going to talk about? But yeah.
So yeah.
Thank you, Colin.
Thank you very much. Anyone else would like to? Melody? Yes, please do.
I think probably, Abbi knows that she's the reason I am here originally because we met at Huddersfield Literature Festival in 2023 and that was quite a
22.
Small... Oh gosh.
Was it?
No, it was...
No, it's 23.
Time has no meaning anymore, everyone.
And it was a poetry event with 3 great poets and doing a Q&A. It was quite a small room, to be honest. There weren't very many people there. And I think sometimes poetry is seen as something you do at school, something you study, something that's not very cool. I think it is having a bit of a renaissance more publicly and it's growing popularity, which is great. But I think it's nice to come somewhere where everyone thinks that poetry is cool, actually. And I think what's really nice is that this is just such a lovely group of people. I think that's part of the reason I keep coming, not just for the poetry, but for the diversity of people. I think it's really nice to hang out with people that you maybe wouldn't do normally, if that makes sense. And I think as well, I was saying to, it's Daniel, isn't it? Saying to Daniel about the fact that what's really lovely when we do the spoken word open mic at the end is you are probably likely to find at least one person who likes your poem, and then likewise you're probably likely to like another person's poem, and it might be in a style, a form that just isn't really normally what you'd go for. So I think it's just actually really nice in a kind of opening horizon sort of way.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Melody.
Thank you.
Thank you. I believe that your first Inkspill event was the festival last year, wasn't it?
Oh.
Yeah, so you are a 2-time returner. Thank you for coming.
I'm just going to hold here for a second because Owen, who is absolute Inkspill fame, has arrived, got scared and then turned around and walked away again. Could someone go and poke Owen and say, come on in? Because I really want to chat to him because he's been here since the very beginning as well, hasn't he? So.
He's a very good one. But yeah, just while we're waiting for Melody, I totally agree. One of the great things we get about our community is that it's a very mixed bag of people, and everyone gets on really well, which is really nice.
This feels oddly uncomfortable for me as well because we've always seen ourselves as part of the group, and the fact that we're sat on stools with mics right now is a bit strange.
It's a bit strange. If you'd like to have a go, Daniel, yes, please do.
Well, I was going to say pretty much the exact as what Melody just said.
She stole it from you.
It's just nice to come to an evening, and even if you don't read, it's nice to just meet like-minded people and listen to other people's work, and it's a really nice social event to come to.
Oh, good. Thank you. And you've been with us for a while, haven't you, Daniel? You've come quite a few times.
My first one was your last one at the Grove.
There we go.
Oh, right, yeah.
So that was November 22. November 22.
Gosh. Yeah, the end of 2022. I found out about you through Attic Stories.
Yes, with the wonderful Rose Condo.
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful. Well, thank you very much. I'm glad you're enjoying it. And you've written a book yourself, haven't you?
Yeah, I've written a crime novel.
Last Chance.
So I'm working on my own poetry collection at the minute as well now.
Amazing. That's really, really good. And do you feel like coming to Inkspill helps you sort of develop that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Fantastic. Well, thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you, Daniel.
Owen's arrived.
Owen has been delivered to us. Thank you, Melody.
We posed the question of, why do you come to Inkspill? And I was like, I want to ask Owen this because you've been coming you are our, what I would class an Inkspill legend.
Oh, thank you
What
very
keeps you coming back, Owen?
Let's have a see. Well, what keeps me back is the atmosphere and the lovely people. So yes, and the opportunity to actually try out some of my more silly poems, because not many places will, I feel, accept them because they're a bit too silly.
No, but anything's welcome
But
here.
yes, it's a great environment.
Good. We always really enjoy your writing.
Oh, thank you
And
very much.
you're in the zine this year?
Oh, yes, thank you.
Yes, good.
Yes,
You're
I need to go and
welcome.
fetch my copy.
Yeah.
Yes. Excellent. Right then.
I love it when Owen's poems get silly. That is always a highlight of the night for me. Sometimes you just whap out a very silly poem and I find it hilarious.
Well, I've got one tonight, basically, for the open mic that is very, very silly.
Great.
Something to look forward to.
And I don't know why I came up with it, just it was a wordplay thing. That's always what my silliness comes from, the wordplay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been going into deeper stuff recently, haven't I?
Yeah.
Yes. More grief-related things.
Understandable.
Yeah.
But that's
But it
why
helps.
it's nice that platform's there, isn't it? And you can kind of use it as that balance. I like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Well, thank you for answering and us putting you on the spot. Literally.
That's okay.
That's the worst thing we could
I
have
was
done.
scared because I saw recording in progress, best not go anywhere near. Because
No.
I will make a bang at some point.
That's more to stop people who need the loo from roaming around the pub and just appearing than scaring off valid people here.
Well, thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
So
Thank you,
take my
Earle. Do you have another question to pose?
Do I have another question?
Yeah.
Well, not really. We just wanted to kind of start by introducing Inkspill and kind of chatting to you guys about Inkspill. Do you have any other thoughts?
Do I have any other thoughts? Currently none. I'm all vibes, no thoughts right now. I am empty.
Labrador vibes.
I am absolutely Labrador. I just want cake, if I'm honest.
Do it. There's tons of cake. That is one thing we've truly delivered on today.
Last year, you made the most incredible cake.
I know.
And someone threw my piece away.
That is
And I'm that angry. I'm still angry. I was like, we were on our feet. I think we did like way too many steps last year and we ate nothing. We gave our food away at some point because we were too busy running an event. Yeah. And I was like, at least I have cake. At least I can come home with a slice of cake. And at the end of the day, it just got tidied away, which I appreciate whoever helped. But I'm still really angry.
Still fuming
still
about
bitter.
that cake.
So I've got a slice in there that my mum's written my name on. Thank you, Lisa. Do I have any questions? I guess I would love to know what people, for those of us joining, I don't want to highlight too much, but Hannah is clearly with child.
Oh, yeah.
She is going on mat leave from work and Inkspill imminently.
Yes.
Which is exciting. Even though I've had months to prepare for this, because I've known for a while, I'm like... I guess I'll open it to the room and ask, what do people see for the future of Inkspill? What do they want? Have they got any suggestions or inspirations or anything that they'd... like to see from us, particularly for me, because I will be doing this all on my own for 6 months.
Yeah.
So, yes. Does anyone have any suggestions? Owen. Baby Crush.
Baby Crush in the back.
Baby Inkspill will be staying away, I imagine, until his immune system is functioning.
Well, no. I mean, once he's had his jabs, he'll be here. But someone did say to me that if his first words aren't a line from a Sylvia Plath poem, something's gone terribly wrong, and I completely agree. So, yeah, he needs to be immersed from a young age. So 6 months might be a bit of a stretch.
Okay.
We'll see. We'll see when I'll be back.
We'll see.
I'll just strap him to me. I don't know. I'll do something.
Just this child just pressed against your chest as you... Love it. Good vibes. Okay, Baby Crush, thank you, Owen. Any other suggestions? Any themes people would like to explore?
Collaborations between poets. I know you've got a lot of workshops going on where you give people prompts and stuff. Maybe you could encourage people to work together on a poem.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to repeat that just for the microphone. Collaborations between poets, getting poets to work together more often. It's funny you say that. We have we're back in October. The 18th.
Yeah, I believe so.
And the theme is Harvest. We're going to do a charity fundraiser for the food bank. And we're going to suggest you all bring snacks because it'll be Hannah's last supper.
It's quite sad, isn't it? I'm feeling emotional.
She's fine. She's going to be okay. And we actually already have some plans for that to do some interactivity. That is definitely a good one.
Yeah, it's hard with that though as well, isn't it? Because it's what different people want. Because some people really do love working with each other, but you do get people who want to just kind of be alone. And I think that's why I quite like Inkspill, because we've got these tables and we have like the group table or kind of people who just want to just channel in and just work on their own thing. But I would love more collaboration because I think we've created something really lovely here. There's a lovely little community, isn't there? Everyone helps each other out. if someone's new, they always kind of take them under the wing. So I agree. I would like to see more collaboration. I
was just thinking my favourite collaborative workshop activity we did, which I think we should bring back, and I think you can all do among yourselves. Our February theme was connection, and we did speed dating, poetry speed dating. So you got 5 minutes to talk to each other, and then you had to write a poem about the other person from what you learned in that time.
Yeah.
It was quite intense. It's
quite the icebreaker, but
it was good. Yeah, we did a free writing thing. We didn't just throw people straight in, but it was really good. And we did try and encourage people. So maybe that sort of thing is something we need to bring back. And
more group activities.
Mm-hmm. Very nice.
Shall we hand it over to these guys? Have you got any questions that you've ever wanted to ask me and Abby? Anything about Inkspill? Anything about us as writers as well? Because we are very aware that as time's gone on, the events have gotten much, much busier. Mm-hmm. And we don't perform at all anymore, do we? We kind of mainly just facilitate. So have you got any questions for us and our work?
Do you want to come in? Could you use the microphone for us?
What are some of the challenges you guys faced when starting up this space and also continuing it as well?
That's a really good question.
That's a great question. Exhaustion.
Ooh.
Just we're just worn out. This year's been really hard for anyone who has listened to the podcast or is friends with us in real life, which we count a lot of you, all of you are. We've had a really hard time this year, so definitely with continuing the space, we've been worn out by it.
It's funny, isn't it? Because you just think it's one Friday a month, but there's so much more that goes into it. And unfortunately, I think anybody wanting to create a successful event these days is at the mercy of social media.
Yep.
And that is a bit, I am so lucky because Abbi does just completely take over with that. And she does a fantastic job. But that's a full-time job in itself, isn't it? Managing socials, getting the word out there. And then just like the workshops, coming up with something new every single month is really hard, and making sure that it's something that everyone's going to enjoy, making sure it's a theme everyone can write about.
Well, if you think about it, we've done 48 workshops so far.
Yeah.
Which is a lot.
It is a lot, yeah.
So that is also why we are farming you all for ideas, because first of all we want to facilitate, but second of all we're knackered and we need some suggestions.
Yeah.
So please always tell us what you want. We're happy to do it. I think also like keeping it a safe space and keeping it non-competitive. I don't know about you all, but I've been to a lot of poetry nights where people want to be on the mic the longest. They want to do the best work. They want to get something out of it.
They just want their voice heard, but then they don't appreciate the voices of others. And I always find that quite frustrating.
Which is not an energy we wanted for Inkspill.
No.
We wanted it to be a level playing field. That's why me and Hannah, the minute it got too busy, we stopped performing, because we were like, we want to make sure everyone gets more time. And if that means everyone gets 30 seconds more because we're not reading, we prefer that than we read and you guys lose that 30 seconds.
Yeah.
But also, I want to stress, this is the most rewarding. I mean, you're about to have a child, so that's probably going to be the most rewarding thing for you. But this project is incredibly rewarding for us, and we have a great time, and we love being with you all. And it's why we do it, is because we both work full-time. You all work, full-time, part-time. You all have full, busy lives, and we want to make sure people had space to be creative together.
Yeah. I think just be nice as well, generally. Like, I've been to quite a few places where if you've got hosts that don't make you feel particularly welcome, like if you come through that door, you are getting a hug from Abbi.
Yes.
Regardless of,
And possibly might cry over your work, which I cry a lot.
So, and I think that's it, just generally being a nice person. So I think being welcoming, making sure that you're just being welcoming to whoever's kind of coming through the door, and just not letting that competitive energy take over is what I would say in a nutshell.
Yeah, thank you, Raj.
And just really upping your social media game, which is so rubbish, isn't it?
Oh, social media is exhausting.
I hate it. Anyway, carrying on.
Thank you.
Any others?
Any other questions? Yes, please, Daniel.
You might have already answered this, but what made you want to start your own open mic?
Yeah.
I answered it from my end. What about you?
I think it was a lack, like I say, a lack of non-competitive spaces. I think there was a real issue with places that I was going to when I was getting started, with people just making it about themselves, and I really didn't want that. I mean, obviously, I think my poetry's great, and I know I'm fantastic, and I love talking about my work, but I also wanted a place that I could talk to other people about their work and they would not have to ask me about mine. And I really wanted that space for people. I wanted in Huddersfield as well. We both went to uni here. I still live here. Hannah's gradually getting closer and closer from Hebden Bridge. Yep. And we wanted to be here because we really felt there was a lack in this area. Obviously, Small Seeds open mic is a classic, but like Hannah says, it's quite quiet. It's quite hard to read there. So we wanted to be in Huddersfield, we wanted to keep being here, and we're not going to move from this space. We're going to be in Huddersfield in this space as long as possible, really. Yeah.
I just think we're in a place that's inspired just so many amazing literary greats, aren't we? Mm-hmm. So this place, there's something special about it. It's embedded into the landscape around us, isn't it? And I just find it really bizarre that we don't do more to celebrate our literary heritage in this area. Mm-hmm. I mean, everyone knows of Haworth, but I mean, we literally have birthed in this town the current poet laureate, haven't we? I mean, I wasn't involved in that.
I know, it was a very strong. We have birthed.
Here. We birthed him. But yeah, we have, and I just find it really bizarre because I teach a lot. I'm a teacher, as you all know. It's all I ever talk about. But a lot of my kids do not see poetry as a future for them, or don't see writing as a path for them in life. And I find it so strange when, in actual fact, if you kind of look at a map, and if you pinpointed some of the most prolific poets and authors, they all come really from this area, or a lot of them do anyway.
A lot of them, yeah.
Not all of them, but a lot of them do. And so I find it very strange that we don't celebrate it more when it's quite clearly embedded into our culture, isn't it? Mm-hmm. So that's why I also wanted to create it, for that reason.
Yeah. But yeah. Thank you very much, Daniel. Does anyone else have any questions? Yes, Susie, do you want to come to the mic?
Thanks. Thanks for welcoming me to Inksville anyway. I just want to say that. It's lovely.
You're very welcome.
I feel very supported here.
Good.
How do you make time as busy women to write, and how will you challenge yourself in the future to keep creative?
Oh, that's a really good question with this little situation happening as well. Mm-hmm. For podcasts, I need to stop forgetting that podcast you can't actually see me. I just pointed at my belly for anyone at home because there's a baby in it. Abby, would you like to start?
Do you want me to start?
Yeah.
How do I find time? I don't, to be honest. I really don't. Inksville is a big creative draw in my life, which is fantastic. I didn't till recently. I should asterisk it because I've joined Write Club with the lovely Owen and Hannah, and Vivian was here earlier, and Sarah was here earlier. And I luckily have a Write group I join every 2 weeks, and I submit work to, and I have a novel I've worked on for a few years. And I finally get people reading it. And someone in an email, which I think was Vivian, was like, I'm really enjoying this, and I look forward to the next instalment. And Alex can vouch for this. I very nearly cried because this book is it's 107,000 words. It's really long, and no one's been really reading it. And just the fact someone was like, and it's only 2,500 words they read every week. And the fact that someone was looking forward to the next 2,500 was really exciting. Yeah. How will I challenge myself in the future? By not being made redundant, by not having my house repossessed, by not trying to plan a poetry festival while being redundant and getting my house repossessed. To clarify, I didn't default on my mortgage, my rubbish landlord did. I'm just going to start making time. Both me and my lovely partner are quite creative people, and we're really bad at overstretching ourselves socially because we have amazing friends who we like seeing quite often. And we're just going to both try and make more time to carve out being creative. And not investing it in other people and actually investing it in ourselves, which is quite nice.
Oh, that's really good advice.
Over to you.
I think for me personally, it's just the same, isn't it? It's making that time, but at the same time, that's such an easy thing to say when life always gets in the way. When you work full time, the last thing I want to do is get home and then open up my laptop again. I find that really hard. So I need to start drawing inspiration from other places rather than just sitting in an office in front of my laptop. So whether that means kind of getting out and walking more, or just getting out and working in a cafe, or not being in the home office, because I think being a writer can be really isolating, and I don't know if you all feel the same way, but quite often you find yourself just locked in a room by yourself, and you can go down a rabbit hole for hours sometimes. And sometimes I don't like that side of writing, so maybe getting out into the community and seeing if there are some other nights like Inksville, that might be the future for me. And Yeah, just trying to make sure that there is a slot of time every week that I carve out and say this is protected time just for writing. But again, I think it's so easy to say that and then something will just creep in, won't it? But it's life, it's what happens. But I'm in a similar situation to Abbi as well. I started writing a novel and I'd love to finish it. And I just need to be a bit more firm with myself, I think. But it's hard.
Yeah, life is exhausting.
Like, in conclusion, life is exhausting. What about, like, you guys, though? Have you got advice for us? What do you do? When do you write? All the poetry you bring to Inkspill each month, when do you write it? How do you find the time to write it? What do you guys think? Come to the mic.
Just when you're on your lunch break and having a shit day and you just write something in your notes app, I don't know.
No, that's good.
There's no, any time is a good time.
Yes.
We were talking to Faye, weren't we, who did the workshop before, about how if anybody else saw a writer's notes page, they'd be like, what is wrong with this person?
Or their search bar.
Yeah, just like the
search
amount
history.
of stuff you just kind of put in your notes page. Oh gosh, it's terrifying. If anyone ever saw that, terrible. Yeah, thank you, that's a good idea.
This might not be completely relevant, because I don't actually write poetry, I just love consuming it from all of you. This is really good. But as a musician, I find it the easiest to write music like first thing as I wake up. My brain is still not completely on, so it's not telling me to stop and think, it's just going. So I don't know if that's helpful to you guys or any other poets, if you're kind of half awake.
Yeah.
That is very creative.
I love that though. I love that line of like, before my brain tells me not to.
Yeah.
That's really good. And I feel like that's definitely something me and Hannah there's some work from all of you, from a lot of you in the zine this year, and Hannah put a deadline on me, and then I procrastinated the deadline away until Hannah was like, if you do not send this by 12 o'clock, you will not be in the zine. And I was like, I respect that. I respect it. And I think definitely there's an element of me that my brain, first of all, just needs to stop generally. That'd be quite nice. And, but yeah, getting up and getting on with it and not having a little rot in bed in the morning, actually making some productive that is really good. So thank you, Mark. Yeah. Appreciate it.
I was thinking of this already, so I just thought I'll add it on to what Mark was saying, that I think everyone sort of has this same issue of finding the time, and I personally find that it's really hard to be creative because you kind of like being creative and being stressed don't work at the same time. And when life is so stressful, how can you be creative? So I think like what you were saying, Hannah, getting out and sort of going on a walk, sometimes it's like, oh well, I can't do anything else right now, so if I have a little notebook with me, then I can start scribbling some ideas down. Because similarly, I don't write too much poetry, although I do sometimes, but I mostly write it for lyrics and kind of more in lyric form. So I really like coming here because it helps me think about the lyrics in more of a creative, bit more abstract kind of way, rather than just being so literal all the time. Yeah. And I feel like you guys always say really big words that helps me expand my vocabulary. But I would say, because I'm not a morning person at all, trying to notice when are we naturally most creative ourselves. And I find that actually I create best when I've been in isolation for a short period of time, and that's mostly on the evenings as well. So not just scheduling something in every single evening, but saying actually this evening, say if like the other people, no one else is in the house, I know that might be an evening where I'll be able to sit down and just be on my own for a bit, not be disturbed, and then just kind of let my brain go into that creative mode. So just noticing when is best for you to create, and then trying to isolate some of those times just to be by yourself and get on with it, really.
Yeah.
I love that.
I do. I think it all comes to like discipline, doesn't it? Being self-disciplined, and it turns out that's something I lack.
Yeah, huge. I think as writers, as creative people, unless you are monetizing your creativity, it's really hard to be disciplined with it, because you are not, as much as you are getting creatively from it, you're not getting anything financial from it. And with how hard the world is right now, and Cosy Libs and all that stuff, it is really hard to like argue against that part of your brain that's like, you need to be financing this needs to be making something. You need to grift, absolutely. Yeah. But I like that, Emma, looking for like when your routine is, and protecting that routine. Mm-hmm. Very, very nice. Over to Owen.
Okay, well, when I'm most creative, it's again evenings. Normally when I've been at work, weirdly, there's a sweet spot, I think, just before I should be going to bed, when I just have all this run of kind of like creative ideas.
Yeah.
It's training the brain, but I've trained it wrong, because it's like, it's midnight. Okay, go to sleep. Poem. Got a poem. Short story. Yes. And then it's like, so let's write the first 100 words, and then no. It's now 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yes.
So training the brain, I think, is the important thing. It's like teaching yourself. But also, creative period does seem to be evenings when you are just reaching that sleepy / giddy period, I think.
Yeah.
I can't imagine Owen giddy.
Yeah.
Oh, I can. But I'm exactly the same. For me, it's just before I'm going to sleep. So when you kind of drift off and then you get that really good idea, and that's when you're like squinting at your phone trying to get it down on your notes page. And I have so many things where I'm similar to you. If I allowed myself, just the hours would go. I'd just not get any sleep. So there's so many ideas in that notes page that I will one day make into fully fledged out things, but that day has not come yet.
But do you also read the notes page and you think, I am so unhinged?
Yes.
Like, I read a line the other day that I wrote when I was driving home for my parents, and I was like, this is the best line ever. This is gold. I'm going to win prizes. And I read it the other day and I was like, this is shit. This is like, it doesn't make sense. It's got no flow. It's got no fluency. It actually is not a good line. It was a really funny moment.
I had one the other day. The other day I looked on my phone, and on the notes page it just said, the pigeons couldn't believe their luck. And I don't know where that's
great.
From. I actually remember, I think someone dropped a sausage roll, and they were just so excited. And I was like, I'll make a poem out of that.
But then it was a vegan sausage roll, and that's the twist at the end.
And they turn around and just fly off, Fair play. Thank you, Owen.
Thank you very much.
I've been reading this book lately, and it is such a well in depth of knowledge. I would encourage everybody in here to read it. It's called The Creative Act by Rick Rubin. Anybody know who Rick Rubin is?
No.
What? Oh my God! You've got to read this book.
Okay.
This guy, he's a music producer. He's worked from everybody from Slayer to Beyonce to Metallica to Beastie Boys. The guy is honestly, he understands the act of the creative process. He really knows what it is.
Yeah.
And when I've been reading it, I'm like, I do that all the time, but I didn't know how to put it into words. I wouldn't know how to express it. It's more of a feeling that I have.
Yeah.
And it's something I've been holding on to, and it's like, when you really step back and you look at it and you go, oh yeah, that's exactly what that is.
Yeah.
There's honestly, everybody in here, in this room, must read this book. I'm telling you, it's a fact.
Fab.
It's such a good book.
We'll start the Inkspill book club with Colin's. Don't make it harder for us, Emily. Don't agree with my ideas.
Yeah. It puts no limitations on your creativity. Whether you think wherever it is, it's. As I totally agree with him. It's an act of connecting with a source, whatever the source is. Yeah. You call it God. You call it something. You call it something. You call it something else. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
We are just conduits of which it comes through, and we process it in our own way, and that'll be whatever the Creator gives us, and we just present it as it is. That's our art. That's us as each individuals and what we present.
Yeah, nice.
That's the way I see it.
That sounds cool. I have a lot of books. Do you know what? I read a lot about writing. So writers on writing, how do people write? But that sounds like a really interesting way of seeing it.
I love that.
We'll put it on our book recs.
Everybody must read that book.
Okay, that is your order.
And from that book, I keep writing this line over and over and over, and I put it in every poem I write. Oh, right. And it's raise your consciousness, not flags.
Yeah, raise your consciousness, not flags.
Thank you.
Mic drop, but please don't, because it'll feedback terribly.
We have time for, if it sounds really daft, we have time for one more question for us, if anyone has a question for us. Thank you.
This might be quite hard on the spot, but what is the wildest or strangest thing that you've got inspiration for a text or whatever form of writing it is from? So, what has inspired you that has been probably something you'd think, why did that inspire me?
Ooh.
The pigeon with the sausage roll.
I think that's cracking.
The end.
The end, that's it, yeah. Is that it or?
No,
Okay,
well,
good.
I could write about my pigeon with his sausage roll, but that is similar to what does inspire me. I love eavesdropping, and I think we live in such an interesting place. If you just listen to the conversation someone's having on a bus or at a bus stop or in line at a cafe, it's just so interesting. Hello. So just for context here, we've got lots of people who keep walking in not realising that we're recording a podcast. But yeah, so I just think we live in such an interesting place. The conversations that you hear, especially I just think up north, they are just so full of charm and wit and randomness. And my entire novel has pretty much been written on me jotting down what I've heard, really bizarre conversations I've heard, and just putting them into the context to build a community. Also, I worked in a bar, and drunk people tell you the most insane things.
Yes.
So yeah, that's always good. That's my inspiration. Just everyday people just being weird. What about you, Abby?
I think I've lots of very wonderful, I'm looking at them, talented musician friends, and I love it when they talk about music tech stuff because I have no clue what they mean. But because the majority knows what's going on, I'm more often not like, that sounds great, wow. And then afterwards, I'm like, no clue what they're talking about. But they use a lot of words that I really like. Obviously, my brain's gone blank, and I can't think of any of them. But it's always really, really fun and techie. And then I try and invert it and try and figure out what it means and use it for writing. And it makes me feel involved and like I know what's going on in the world.
So even if it's not the dictionary definition, you make up your own definition for the word. I quite like that. That's quite cool.
Yeah, it's how I pass in the friendship group. I'm just like, yeah, that sounds great. I'll write a poem about this later.
Yeah, nice.
So yeah, well, we are coming up bang up to time because me and Hannah are very excited to get ready for the Poetry Slam in a minute.
Yes, that's coming up next.
Unless you're listening in the past, in the future, and it's not coming up next, it's already happened.
Yeah.
I'm so tired, guys. But thank you so much for playing along with this, guys, and for having fun with us. We really didn't know how it was going to go, but I think it's gone a lot better than we were worried it would.
Yeah, it was really nice to hear from you all, so thank you.
Thank you very much.
It could have been terribly awkward.
Yeah, yes, applauders.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So if you do want to listen to the Inkspill podcast and hear yourselves in it, we're on Spotify, we are on Apple and YouTube.
And YouTube. The next series will be back in November for our final season.
Yes.
Which will be on reflecting.
And it will be.
We've got some very good guests. We're very excited. So please listen along.
Yeah, and a few people who you've seen either at the last festival and this festival are guests on the podcast, so you can listen back. Faye, for example, was one of our first guests that we had.
She was the first guest.
Brogan last year, if you liked him, the comedy poet, he was just been on, hasn't he?
Yes, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, so again, listen back as well. It'll be really good. But we're going to go and get ready for the Poetry Slam.
Thank you all very much. Goodbye.
Adios.